I had a previous video, I believe it was the one titled How to Swap a 02S 6-Speed into your Mark IV the Easy Way. And the main part of that video was showing how to hack the instrument cluster to pick up vehicle speed by CAN bus from the ABS module. So it'd be easier to install a newer transmission that doesn't even have a vehicle speed sensor. And I did that with a GoPro strapped to my head. So obviously what was going on the screen was not as easy to see. So I wanted to at least redo just that part of the video to give a more clear idea of what it was that you got to do, as well as which instrument clusters this hack applies to, because it does not work for all of them. So first thing, I already am sitting in the car. I have the cable plugged into the car and the USB plugged into the laptop. So we want to make sure, just double check and see what COM port the computer assigned to the KKL cable, just so we know that we're on the same page here and we don't kind of fight ourselves wondering why something doesn't work when you just need to make sure you're on the right COM port. So in our case, we're on COM 2. I'll go ahead and open up CMD, command prompt, and then navigate to where I put the KW1281 test program. I'll go ahead and blow this up. Change directory, I put it in documents, change directory again, KW1281. And now we're in the correct folder where I put it, COM2. Actually, I got to turn the key on here. All right, so key's on. And for the instrument cluster, I believe the baud rate is 10400. The address for the instrument cluster is 17. And we're just going to read the software version first to make real sure we have the correct software in this instrument cluster that would actually, that we know would accept this hack. So this hack does not apply to the Bosch RB8 clusters. This is only for Mk4 VDO, Mark IV, and B5.5 Passat clusters. And they need to have software version VWK501 or VWK503, some variant thereof. And this one, as you can see right here, this is a VWK503. That's what we're after. So I have a 2001 Golf, for example, and it's a VWK500, and this hack does not apply to that car. It only applies to 501 and 503 VDO clusters. So, I have to put the belt on just to stop it from dinging at me here. There is a hack for that too, but we're not going there today. So, what we're going to do, when we get into the cluster here, to read just one specific address, it is address hexadecimal 65. So I know in my previous video about doing a hack for putting the hatch on central locking, as well as doing the remote windows on a Passat or Jetta wagon of the era, I was using decimal for that whole thing. But in this case, I only remember what the hexadecimal address and values are for this particular hack. So that's what we're going to do this time. So let's see, we're going to do KW1281 test, COM2, 10400, address 17 for instruments, and then we're going to do read EEPROM, and we're going to use a $ for hexadecimal, and then 65. Or you can even use, 065, 0065. Any zeros in front of that first whole number should be basically implied. And the result I'm looking for should be 80 in hexadecimal. And sure enough, so in parentheses with the $, we have the hexadecimal value of 80. And for most cars, changing it to 81 is all that needs to happen in order to enable this hack. Some people have said you actually need to change it to 82, which would be a different bit. So, if we bring up our calculator in programming mode, if I input the hex value up here at the very top, make it 80, you can see this is our binary down here in hex. So it's just bit 7 is flipped to a 1, everything else is a 0. If in order to change it to 81, we'd be flipping bit number 0 from a 0 to a 1, which, I can just do the easy shortcut here, and you can see clearly That's what that is. So we're going to go ahead and send the command to change address 65 to a hex value of 81, and that should enable the hack. So back to KW1281 test, COM2, 10400, address 17, write EEPROM, address hexadecimal 65, value hexadecimal 81. And this will take it a second to go through. And it looks like we got a successful write. We can always double check that by using an up arrow to go back a couple of commands to read EEPROM address 65 and verify that, yes, we do indeed have a value of 81 there, hexadecimal value 81 now. And there we go, hexadecimal value 81. So now, with a transmission installed that does not have a vehicle speed sensor, this car should pick up vehicle speed from the CAN bus generated by the ABS wheel speed sensors. And that is all you need to do. It's pretty straightforward and simple, but you just have to make sure that it is one of those two software version numbers of VDO cluster. This hack does not work for any other cluster outside of those two version numbers of VDO cluster. It's not going to work on a Morelli-made Beetle cluster or a Bosch RB8 Golf and Beetle cluster, and it certainly isn't going to work on the VDO clusters that are MO2 and older. It's only going to be these VWK501 and 503 software version number VDO clusters. So that's the only clusters that this applies to.